Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Paul Geraci, fencing master with the USFCA and the International Academy of Arms, here at the 2022 Ascalon Sword Festival. We're about to see the under-20 men's foil gold medal bout between Zhou on the left from the Bluegrass Fencers Club and Jeidus Deseranno from the Renaissance Fencing Club on the right. As always, with me in the booth is Dr. Joseph Streb, 16-time world team member and 5-time national champion. Dr. Streb, are we ready for this final?
We are ready, Maestro Geraci. U20 men's foil, 15 touch bout, 3 3-minute periods if it gets that far. Mr. Deseranno on the right, Mr. Zhou on the left.
This is brothers of the ones who just finished.
Deseranno I had an opportunity to watch earlier in the day. He's a very clean fencer, very disciplined fencer. Looks like he might have a little bit of injury to that left leg, though. He doesn't seem to be moving the way he was earlier in the day. Definite problem with the left leg. He's looking for blade control as he comes forward. He finishes. Touch arrives. Touch for Deseranno. His leg's getting worse.
And there's a riposte.
Attack is paired. Riposte arrives. Mr. Zhou ties it up. Actually 2-1. So far, Mr. Deseranno has been able to land attacks coming forward. Even though he's obviously injured, he's been able to do fairly well coming forward. The question is, how's he going to do going backwards? It looks like going backwards he might have a little bit of a problem.
And he finds that riposte.
There's a counter parry.
Series of ripostes, but no one finds the target.
Deseranno is generally looking for blade control when he comes forward, so he can get a little closer before he lunges, given his injury. There's an attack by Deseranno.
Yeah.
I don't know what Mr. Zhou was looking for. I think he was looking for a counterattack, but he didn't time anything very well on that one.
Looked like Deseranno timed him in the middle of his step. The long attack.
Interesting, Mr. Deseranno testing his mask, because that touch wasn't really near the mask, I don't think. There's that blade control by Deseranno. The long finish underneath, renews it, gets the touch.
Zhou had the parry, but he didn't do anything with it. He just backed up and allowed Deseranno to continue. And the attack is off target. Deseranno starting that action first.
Deseranno checking his sock. Probably a psychological move there.
We all have to check our socks.
Actually, Deseranno missed the pickup on that. I would have seen that as touch left. Deseranno stepped forward. He looked for the blade. He completely missed it.
And he's calling for a replay. He's calling.
Yeah,
maybe he even got away with one, and that replay, I don't know.
They're checking the replay, and I think that it'll end up touch left.
This replay could backfire on him.
Yeah, it's fairly subtle. That miss of the pickup is fairly subtle.
It's really what the judge really feels the intention is. And it is a reversal.
They are reversing it.
And it's going to be a touch for Jason Zhou. So 4 fencing 5. And does he lose that challenge now?
Yes, they each have 2 video challenges. If you take a challenge, well, and he won't, because he won the challenge, right? If you win the challenge, you retain it.
Well,
you lose it.
They reversed the call, just not the way he wanted it.
all tied up.
And the remise of the riposte scores.
Yeah, Mr. Zhou has not really come forward with many attacks. He seems to be, and he has a reach advantage here, but he seems to like to bait the opponent in and then try to hit on the parry post. Maybe he wants to counterattack. I haven't seen a lot of those. There's an attack.
Into the preparation.
Mr. Deseranno asking for his point to be tested to see if there's a fault with his equipment. Again, probably a psychological move here. Oh, I couldn't possibly have been hit. It must be my weapon that failed. But the weapon passed.
Yes, it does. Here we go. We have 1 minute and 15 seconds left in the first period. Zhou looks rather comfortable. Large actions from Deseranno.
Deseranno with the blade control all the way down the strip, then finishing.
Yeah. Zhou had no choice. He had like one toe left on the strip.
Long attack by Deseranno, attempting to find Zhou in preparation, didn't work. Zhou had an opportunity to come forward there, gave it up. Zhou wants to counterattack there, but he just can't get it there.
I think
Deseranno picks it up.
He may have
and
stepped
there
off
he
the
is
strip.
finishing again.
He may have stepped off the strip, though. They might want to
Did he
review
call
that.
that off the strip?
I don't know if he scored when he was on the strip or off the strip.
He did go off with both feet. I can see the video replay from here. I think that's what he called.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yes. Okay. So the call is correct.
Deseranno either not getting better or attempting to influence Mr. Zhou. Now the attack misses, riposte misses, remise arrives from Deseranno. It was one light, so he gets the touch out of time, but he still got it.
40 seconds remain in the first period.
Zhou with his about his second long attack of the day. It was just short. Deseranno that missed with the counteraction.
From by the yell, he thought he hit. Zhou a long attack, it's short.
Mr. Zhou's coach telling him he needs to be stronger with this final action, and he does. He's ended up a little short.
Ooh.
That time he just missed.
That repost to the back just missed. It was nice how he changed his line there, though.
There's an attack that arrives from the left. Mr. Deseranno asking for video. I don't think it'll be successful.
And if it's not, then he's going to be out of challenges, isn't he?
If he misses this one, and that's his second, he'll be out.
So rather risky. I think Jason Zhou got off a hair faster on that one. I think the referee's call was correct. Let's see what happens. And the referee sticks with the call.
It didn't record the video, so I can't review it.
Okay, it looks like there's a fault with the video replay, and so the touch will stand, but Mr. Deseranno will still have the option to challenge one more. And we come to the minute break.
Mr. Deseranno literally hobbling to the break.
Well, you know what's really interesting is just before this bout, when we had the younger youth youth men's foil, the finals featured the brothers of both these people. It was we just called the bout between Deseranno and Zhou, but the younger ones, and now we have the older brothers also in the junior final.
Yes, and we see that in the sport of fencing. A lot of times, fencing runs in families. It does in mine, and it does in others. And
absolutely,
we'll see fathers and sons, and brothers fencing, sisters and brothers. I mean,
absolutely.
It's and a lot of times you'll see that they're good fencers all the way up and down the line. They're good fencers. So yeah, well, tall tied up at 8. It's still anybody's bout. Now, you got to think if you're Mr. Zhou and Mr. Zhou's coach, that you would try to come up with something to take advantage of Mr. Deseranno's injury. Now, how serious is that injury? Hard to know. But, you know, he obviously has an issue of some kind.
Well, one thing I would just say about their demeanor, Zhou looks rather composed and calm. Deseranno looks a little flustered, so we'll see. And he is hobbling quite a bit there. So what is his injury exactly? What do we have going on with Deseranno? He is walking rather gimpy.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks to me like it to be an ankle problem, but there's no way to know what it could be. It could be, you know, something else. Could be cramping in the calf. Hard to say.
Well,
but he's done a great job of compensating for it so far, especially when he comes forward with really controlling that blade all the way down the strip and then getting close enough to finish. So we'll see if he continues to do the same thing. I think Mr. Zhou has been told he needs to really get that attack out there.
And there's a riposte that's going to land off target, though.
Ready? Fence.
Now there's Mr. Deseranno doing what he does. And Mr. Zhou had an opportunity for a riposte there and ended up short with it and had to retreat and ended up giving up that beat attack at the end.
Oh, and that riposte is short, and Deseranno's able to take advantage and score. Attack, parry, riposte, and remise hits.
Mr. Zhou thinks that Mr. Deseranno ducked too much on that, which would be a yellow card foul, would annul the touch.
Well, he was not able to connect on his riposte. I don't know if it was enough to call it a covering of the target. There was a little bit of a duck, but...
Well, you're an épée fencer, and in épée, of course, there's not a problem with ducking. In fact, it can be very useful to make people miss. In foil, it can be a penalty, but our fencing official does not see a foul on that and gives Deseranno the touch.
Right.
Three-touch lead. Significant. There's an attack into preparation by Mr. Zhou, and he should be looking for that quite a bit.
And I think that's the fastest tempo we've seen from Zhou this fight.
Oh, there's a counter parry by Mr. Deseranno. Nice action.
Wow. Excellent staying with the fight the whole way through.
Yes. And there's a
attack,
remise.
parry, riposte, remise.
Mr. Zhou made that parry, but because Deseranno was closing all the way, you know, Zhou needs to fence from a greater distance.
Yeah, he's
got the reach, but he's not really using it.
He's not giving Zhou opportunity to hit with that riposte because he's closing him out.
That looks... sometimes the point will stick on an action like that, or the wire will break. And so there's a wire that runs all the way down the blade, the middle of the blade, from the tip that it hooks up the electrical equipment. Sometimes those wires will break, and I think that's what happened.
Well, this might be actually beneficial for Zhou because he has a moment to actually think about what's going on at 9:13, and you really need a little break.
9:13, that's a 4-touch deficit, and it is tough to make that up in foil. He could do it, but...
we've seen it done before.
We have seen it done before. He's going to have to find a way to be a little longer with his finishes and with his ripostes and not get involved in the infighting.
And I think he might have to be the initiator, too. He may have to come forward. Zhou now playing a longer game. This seems to be his style.
That's called a riposte off target from the left. Mr. Deseranno really wants to put this away. Understandable, given his condition.
Looks like a remise of riposte is off target.
Mr. Deseranno testing once again.
He does not have much faith in the scoring equipment, does he?
I think he does that for psychological purposes. Whoa, Mr. Zhou made the parry there. It looked like he would get the riposte, but
He may have
ends up
stepped
short
off.
with it.
He may have stepped off the strip. The referee wants to check the replay.
Deseranno was definitely off the strip at the end of the action.
But he only had 1 foot off the strip, so you could still score.
But that's well,
I
depends
mean,
on the timing.
if
It
you
should stop the action, really.
yes, but if you score and land 1 foot off, it will still count.
Well, our fencing official annulled the touch and gave a yellow, probably for ducking or covering target.
Okay, so the touch does not count, and there's a yellow card. There's the attack. It's off target. And
Mr. Deseranno, despite his hobbling condition, really still getting a lot of power on those attacks.
yeah. Attack, parry, riposte is off target.
Straight
Both
attack, but
fencers come
Deseranno
together.
missed. Just didn't get a light on it.
Right over the
Zhou
shoulder.
gets the counter.
And he wants to test it again. But I think that one's going to stand. Yes, sir.
Mr. Zhou just needs to find an open line here coming forward. It looks like he has some opportunities there, but he just ends up short with them.
Oh, and a little bit of a preparation there. Allows an opportunity for Deseranno to earn his 14th point. 1 more and he will be the gold medalist. Attack, parry, riposte, no score.
Let's see if Zhou can land something. And he's getting picked up. He just can't quite get close enough, or not as close as he wants to be.
Looks
Counter
like the
parry.
counter riposte is off target.
It looks like Zhou could go under the arm there, but he just hasn't really done it today.
There's the attack.
Nice
And
attack
Zhou-
there. Nice attack. That's what he's needed to do most of the bout.
11 fencing, 14. Both
One
fencers
light.
go.
Back into preparation by Zhou.
And that's the same touch really we saw about 2 touches ago. And now looks like Deseranno wants to change his weapon.
I feel that's another psychological move. That's something that you do in fencing when things aren't going your way. Sometimes you say, well, it's the weapon. You know, you get a new weapon psychologically. And quite frankly, it oftentimes makes a difference.
Yeah, but he's got to be careful, though, because, you know, he's got 14 points. You know, he's got the momentum. He could put this thing away. He doesn't want to psych himself out either.
What he really wants to do is come forward with one of his long attacks and just end this thing. Let's see if he tries to do it off the start. He does. But he
Attack,
got
parry,
parried.
riposte is off target.
I think he may retreat at this point. I think Deseranno will step forward, then go back and look for a parry riposte. He tried his long attack. It didn't quite work. Well, Zhou's going to let him come forward.
He's off. He's off the strip. He is
Mr.
off
Zhou
the
went
strip.
off the strip with both feet.
And that will be a penalty point, and that will earn Jeidus Deseranno the gold medal.